Subscribe YouTube channel Watetezi TV.
Hello, welcome, and this is Face to Face from Watetezi TV, the only platform that we have and bringing to you guests from different places, from different perspectives, discussing on social issues, economic and politics. And today, Face to Face is honored to have Brigadier General Dr. Ambassador Wallace Williams, who is an ambassador for Caribbean islands of Antigua and Barbuda to the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He's very well known as a fellow for the Institute of Leadership and Management in United Kingdoms, and also he is an ambassador for African Business Roundtable to the Americas. Ambassador Wallace, he does many activities and he does many jobs. He's very well known in Europe, in Africa, and in America. He's also a poet. He does the music. He's an artist. He sings a lot. Maybe I'll ask him the connection between him being an artist and being an ambassador, being a brigadier general, serving in the army, and also he's a doctor, as I told you. Of course, he's also a local content consultant. He's here with me today in Tanzania, but all the way from Nigeria. Ambassador Wallace, we're very honored to have you today.
Thank you very much.
You're most welcome.
Thank you very much. Specifically, yes, I am ambassador to the Americas for the Business Roundtable. I'm also, honorary consul general for Antigua and Barbuda. So yes, as a diplomat, fine. And my artistry goes back years ago.
Yes.
When I did poetry for Pan-African, anti-apartheid, etc. I performed at Festa in 1977 in Nigeria. So that's the.
We get time to go through those those areas. But by the way, if talking of Caribbean island, especially the Antigua and Barbuda, it might be something very new to many Tanzanians and probably East Africa. So can you a little bit tell us about Antigua and Barbuda?
Yeah, Antigua and Barbuda is a twin island British protectorate before. It's still under the Queen as the head of state, but they have a prime minister. Two lovely islands. The main one is Antigua. The smaller one is Barbuda. And Antigua and Barbuda is famed for having 365 beaches, one for each day of the year. Right? They have some very famous cricketers, Viv Richards, Richie Richardson, Kirtley Ambrose, among others. They had 4 women that rowed the Atlantic 2 years ago. So that's a bit of fame, and we have to plug that. First set of black women to row the Atlantic. We have a prime minister who's a banker, and the islands are more or less in the middle of north and south of the Caribbean. So it's like a middle hub. It's the one jutting out into the Atlantic. If you look at the curve of the Caribbean islands. So it's a very exciting place to visit for holidays and to swim and snorkel. You will enjoy that, and plenty of seafood. A bit like Dar es Salaam.
Okay.
You have plenty of seafood, but nice beaches and
and what are the economic activities that are common in
it's
Antigua?
mainly tourism.
Tourism.
Yeah, like most of the other islands, except Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica to a certain extent. They are driven by tourism. Cruise ships, all-inclusive holiday makers. That's the revenue generation of the country. So they're dependent totally on tourism. Yeah.
So is there, maybe I'm not quite sure if you know what we have as far as the tourism sector is in Tanzania, but I would like to hear from you if you know anything about tourism in Tanzania, comparing, in connection to the tourism activities in Antigua and Barbuda.
Well, I know that here you have wildlife. You have a sea line. So therefore you would have at least Zanzibar, which is an island of Tanzania. And you have activities there. I believe tourists visit there. You'll have to enlighten me on anything more.
Okay.
But I'm sure we can do some cooperation and collaboration between Tanzania tourism Antigua too, so why not?
Mhm. Now, of course, leading about Ambassador Wallace, we cannot separate Ambassador Wallace with the movement of fighting to unite Africans. Ambassador Wallace is known for uniting Africans, but fighting against the local wars. I mean, black to black violence. Tell us much more about that.
Yeah, well, first to begin, I'm the founding chairman, together with Professor Lumumba, of Africacy. And what is Africacy? Africacy is Africans doing it for themselves, by themselves. African solutions for African problems. We inherited things like democracy, we inherited things like presidency, but that is not African. Africa had their own hierarchy, their own structure. So we coined the term Africacy, which means it's neither parliamentary nor presidential. It's how Africans used to run themselves. We had chiefs, we had kings, we had noblemen, we had people who reached and touched the lives of people because they were in touch with their people, you know, and this is a renaissance. Africacy means that we have to get back to uniting as a continent. Forget the internecine warfare, forget about tribalism, forget about ethnicity. Think of yourself as one united set of people and one united country, because what the rest of the world is doing, and we're having another second wave now with China and all these other European countries, is displacing, and they've even said they want to depopulate Africa. They are displacing Africans and want to displace Africans. Why? Because of the arable land that we have, because of we contribute to maybe 90% of the world raw materials resources. And what they are saying is, why should we have it? Can you go to China and go and drill for oil or gas or minerals? No. Can you do the same in India? No, you can't do that anywhere else. But they are coming here, giving you paper money and taking the raw materials and resources to the detriment of the people. So what John Magufuli, your president, is doing is admirable. He's saying empower the locals. And that's why we were here, myself and Professor Lumumba, to talk about local content and developing, strengthening, and deepening local content.
Wait, do you think the situation of many African leaders failing to empower their people can be counted as a reason why?
Yes, you're absolutely right. The question one must ask is, what the hell is the African Union doing? Right? The African Union should be there representing all the interests of Africa. So if any investor wants to come and give credit and loans to a country, they should face the African Union as the center of negotiation. But what they do, because we have some idiots as leaders, I have to say this, because they are not thinking of their country and their future of the people. They individually go with begging bowls to China and the rest of Europe, development aid. What nonsense is that? You're sitting on resources which are trillions of dollars in worth. Why don't you use those resources under the African Union as your collateral and your bargaining tool, right? But not individually, but as a union. Because if you're doing it individually, what is happening? What is happening? What is happening is that they know your weakness. They know your appetite for big projects. A lot of it is not needed, right? And they make you sign deals. Sometimes you don't even read the fine prints of the contract. And then what they do, like Malawi and other places, they come and they take your patrimony. They take either your port, they take either your raw materials, they take over governments. How the hell can you be putting bases, in Djibouti, a Chinese base in Djibouti? Can you go and put an African base in China? These are things that we need to look at. Some of these leaders and governance, right? They need to be shot because they are not doing anything for the continent.
Is it bad for African leaders, for African countries, to cooperate with other continents, Asia, especially Chinese, in Europe, especially UK, etc. But all depends on how do they cooperate.
It is about cooperation and negotiation, right? How do you cooperate? I'm saying that the African Union should be the one doing the negotiation on behalf of the continent. Individual countries do not have enough negotiating power. That's the point. They do not have enough negotiating power because they are weak in most instances. So therefore, if they, as individual countries, have to face these major big powers, what happens? They're already starting at a disadvantage. They are at a disadvantage, yes, because they don't have the power, the strength, the money on their own. But collectively, they can. And who is the collective depository for Africa? The African Union. So they should either change the management of the African Union or set up a parallel organization that will do so. Their own. Maybe they set up a total Africa economic institution that negotiates an African bank, African continental bank, and let that bank negotiate for loans. So they are not individually responsible, to be put into a situation where the people are impoverished, whether it's IMF, whether it's whichever individual, China or Europe, where they're individually put, into a sense of poverty, and that they get impoverished because they have no negotiating power. What is the negotiating power they have? There's just a few people who have said no. Kagame, Magufuli, Ghana's president, just a few who are, bucking the trend. But the rest, they are just lackeys. They just do whatever their ex-colonial masters or their new, presumed colonial masters ask them to do. Sign this, sign here. I'm going to give you all this money. And who does the money? Money doesn't even trickle down to the country. It is a few clique that utilize that. They go and they swirl champagne in France or London or wherever, and they think that they've made it. It's nonsense.
You have mentioned like several times the word AU. I think you refer to the African Union.
Yes.
For a long time, we hear many people condemning
the AU.
Yes. For the AU, that it is failing to deal with African problems.
Absolutely.
For example, right now, you're talking of Ethiopia and Eritrea, the Tigray region. It is at war. But we cannot hear the African Union.
They will not say anything. They're shut in
Why
their
do you
mouth.
think? Is it because
Leadership. They should fire whoever is in charge of African Union. You have people like PLO Lumumba, who is in touch with the continent as a Pan-Africanist with a vision and a mission. You have Arikana, who used to work for the African Union, but when she started to expose so many things that are going on, she was fired because she challenged France and challenged what France was doing to French African countries. These are the people who should be running the African Union, not these idiots that they have there at the moment, because they're doing nothing. You see, they stay quiet. On every frontier, they stay quiet. Whether it is internecine warfare between African countries, which by default you are encouraging. Because if you can't stand up and say this should not happen, intervene, send in African peacemakers, then you are a part of the contribution of what is going on. Yeah.
So can we conclude is that most of the problems in Africa are caused by the AU? Can we make it that way?
You can also say that, yes, because if they can't intervene, if they cannot intervene and stop some of the problems or negotiate on behalf of African countries, then they're part of the problem. Why do you have them in the first place? African Union is supposed to be like the United States of America. You're supposed to be a unified force. You're supposed to be the uniting of the African countries. It's a union. So you are supposed to act that way. You're supposed to act as the mouthpiece, as a negotiator, on for behalf of the African countries. But if you're not doing that, then your role is dysfunctional. You're only just having a name for what? It's crazy.
So you want to tell me if that one, if they work on that, really is one day we can say that African problems can be solved by Africans themselves?
Of course, and that's what we have been propagating. We are propagating Africacy. Africans doing it for themselves, by themselves. African solutions to African problems. We've also set up an organization, African Development Goals Initiative. We're not talking about UN goals, we're talking about African development goals. But what is our development goals? We want to judge every African leader every year, yearly, on a particular item. So let's say we say health for all African presidents and countries concentrate on free health for all their citizens. They have the money. The money that is spent on large projects, they should do that on health. We say education for all, free education up to whichever level, all achieve it, and they are peer reviewed. So at the end of every year, you have a goal. We say food security for all. They all get their heads together and work on a food security program. Health, food, education, the things that matter to us, which is African development by Africans, African solutions to African problems.
So, thank you so much, Brigadier General Dr. Ambassador Wallace William. So you are attending the Mineral Conference in Tanzania. You, Professor Lumumba, and other people from different parts of Africa and wherever. Mineral sector.
Yes.
Many people for many years have been crying for this sector to be
Organized.
to be disorganized.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
People are seeking for it to be organized, but because it was disorganized.
Yeah.
And
Well,
if it would
purposefully
be
disorganized.
used properly, then African couldn't be like the way it is today.
Yeah.
Maybe I would like to hear from you, especially on the mining
Yes,
sector.
well, the mining sector, as you know, as I said, if you looked at the presentation yesterday, and I can send you a copy if you were not there, I'll send you a copy. You will see that the majority of the resources of the earth reside in Africa. And what has happened? All the outside countries, foreigners, China, India, etc., they are fueled, right? The US, Europe, they have fueled wars in Africa in the areas where there is the most lucrative material that they want to just dig out and take away. You know that they have strips in the Congo where they just fly in and move out, gold, diamond, rare earth, etc., and they go. And they just pay a pittance to either the leaders or warlords, and they encourage that. And then they will give them arms and ammunition and encourage them to fight each other. So what does that tell you? That tells you that they do not want us to look at, getting together, getting the technology, bridging the skills gap, and doing the capacity building, and being the entrepreneurs themselves, setting up our own markets, doing our own selling, right, and doing our own processing. All those they take away from the African countries and decide your own market, your own price, do the processing, take out the raw materials, and they sell you back, if they sell you anything at all, at phenomenal price. So people come in with suitcases in Africa, I've seen it happen, and walk back out, multimillionaires. And they don't even have a sign on an office. But because they can talk and they can, mess the head of leaders who are absolutely so stupid, they don't think about their people. They think only about their own selfish greed, a few of their families, and that's it. And they go with stupendous wealth. They should be shot. I mean, Jerry Rawlings was right when he did what he did, and he stopped corruption in Ghana to a large extent, because he realized that if the country was to move forward, we had to get rid of some of these leaders. And sometimes you have to do that. You just have to be revolutionary and get rid of leaders who are not leading the people, because you put them there.
Let's talk about investors on the mining sector.
Yes.
Like in Tanzania, we remember for Bariki, which was later changed to Acacia. but it was all about trying to legalize how to steal the minerals, how to steal the natural resources.
Yeah.
It was a continuation of stealing natural resources
Yeah.
by using different masks, different shadows.
Yes.
President Magufuli had a war on this sector to a reason why he made sure that the win-win situation was observed.
It's a start,
Yeah.
but it is still not the right balance, because at the conference we heard that the government has 16%. How
Yes.
could you have 16% of your own raw materials, which is your
How many
collateral?
percent would think you would have?
The country should either have 60%,
Mhm.
at least minimum 40%.
40%.
Yes, because that is your raw material. That's your
But
collateral.
you Africans have no technology.
Yes, but the technology that you're bringing, if you have the right local content policy, you will have to have the person who's coming with the investment. He will have to train. He will have to transfer technology. You have to train up personnel locally to understand the technology, right? He will have to invest in human capital. Those are the things that is needed, because we're saying, okay, this is our patrimony forever and a day. All right, we don't mind you bringing your technology. We don't mind you making a profit and taking it out free of charge. And we don't mind you processing, but you teach our people, you transfer technology, you transfer skills, and help them to be themselves independent entrepreneurs with you. But they don't want that, because that is competition. They want to harness all the resources for themselves and dictate to you what they want you to get. I mean, it's a start, and it's a great start that he has at least said, all right, we are partnering for a win-win, and we've got, but he should have a roadmap for increasing that percentage, whilst skills are being transferred, whilst technology is being transferred, to get up to either 40% or 60%. Because without the raw material, the barracks of this world, the acacias of this world, they are nothing. Who are they? Who are they? Do they have the material in their country? No. Could you go to their country and do the same thing?
You cannot.
You cannot. And that's the point. So he made that decision that you cannot. So let's start. Let's start on the basis of you give me, and the government, no, meaning the government is saying, give me 16% to start with. It's a start. They know they're still cheating the country. They know they're still cheating the government. But they should
And
have
you believe that they're still cheating.
Huh?
And you believe that they're still cheating.
Of course. No, but it's the formula.
And what
The formula is, no, the formula is cheating.
Uh-huh.
That's what I'm saying. The
Uh-huh.
formula is cheating. In any fair contract where you have the source of raw material and an investor is coming in, whether he's coming in with technology, skill, whatever, that percentage is way too small. So that's why I say you're cheating. You're cheating on the contract ratio. At least minimum 40%. If you want to go to 60% over time, yes, that could be a transferable.
And what do you
contract.
think can be the starting point if you want to achieve that?
The starting point should at least have been 30%, 33 and a third, because at least a third gives you also voting rights on the board. If you have a board, at least a third, 33 and a third percent gives you the right to be one of the decision makers. 60% you have no decision making. You're just there as a sleeping partner. No, seriously.
Yeah.
So that's why I say it's being cheated. They know that if you have 33 and 30%, you could also make some decisions
Yes.
on the board.
Indeed.
But if you're less than that,
You cannot.
you cannot. So therefore, you could say, you could sing from now to high-low. You can't do anything. The vice president made the point yesterday that still people like Barrick were causing environmental hazards and they have to deal with it. And they're going to deal with it, meaning the government, But because they are in partnership together, they probably think that they can get away with all that. But it looks as though the government is serious about bringing up their environment impact standards. You see? And this is what happens. Do you know that, for example, in England, a bird nest here, you cannot run a pipeline or any kind of environmental hazard that will affect that bird nest. You spend money, millions, to go around it. Right. But here, the human condition of Africans, they don't care. So they'll poison the water like the Chinese have been doing. They will have environmental impact that impacts your food, impacts your agriculture, etc. And leaders just stay there and allow people to do it. So, but I see that from the vice president yesterday, they're not going to allow people like Barrick to do that. But they need to increase their percentage so that they have a member of the government on their board, right?
Okay. We have giant companies, very famous, very strong economical, wherever, like companies in South Africa,
Australia,
yes,
etc.
Australia, United States, countries like Canada, and now the Chinese are coming to invest on minerals.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think is there any way we can control these people and make?
Of course you can. You just have to have the right policies and just choose partners who have and will adhere to your strategic policies as a partner. And if what we just talked about, local content transfer of skills, technology transfer, then yes, you can bring them because they are going to be giving you something in return of equal bidding. So they will transfer technology, they will transfer skills, they will employ 70 or 80% of workers, instead of bringing all their workers and your foreign exchange is going out to pay them. No, it's nonsense. So it's what you set as your policy. It's what you set as your framework for engaging with foreign investors. Yes, everybody wants to come and they come and dangle money in front of you. And you think that is all. But that is selling your patrimony. You need to take part. That is the government needs to take part in every aspect of the value chain. Every aspect of the value chain. And that is because then you're monitoring what they're doing as well. Because you're in all aspects of the value chain, not just say, go ahead and mine. No, you're going to take part in the value chain. You have technology, train our people.
Okay.
You have skills, train our people. Processing, teach us how to process.
Sometimes,
yes,
we can do this by ourselves.
Yes. And yes, you can retain a royalty for what you have brought. If you brought technology transfer, and we have to manufacture our own, teach us how to manufacture. When we manufacture, then we can sell to the market. You can still be our partner as a technology partner. You're a technical partner after the process. You've made money, and because you really, really think about us as your partners and want us to benefit, you will remain as our technical partners over time.
Now, great. Thank you so much for having me. For having discussion with me about the mineral sector. So we go back to other area that you are known of, doing things to help. Can we talk about the black to black violence?
Yeah.
Now we cannot hear of the xenophobia in South Africa.
Yeah.
What is happening or what is not happening?
Well, I think South Africa got a rude awakening when they were attacking Nigerians.
I remember.
And other Africans from Mozambique, etc., etc. And I think the African world, kicked up against, because why? Nigeria helped South Africa during apartheid. It's helped Mozambique and these other places, right? South Africans now, and that is the black South Africans. Well, we now have South Africans who are many shades and colors, right? But the African in South Africa saw the Nigerians and others who have come to South Africa to work as a threat. But they have not attacked the Chinese, the Indians, or any other person who are taking their jobs.
I wonder why.
Because of their attitude that they see their own brother benefiting and they're thinking that he shouldn't. And that is part of the colonial mentality that we've been passed on. They pass on that mentality to our people, that you must fight each other because, they should not do better than you, right? And they've got that imbibed in their mind that under apartheid they suffered, and therefore everything they want they should get should be free. I think that has been the problem. And then when they see other Africans coming there and showing them that they can be entrepreneurs, they can do business, and they're doing business successful, setting up shops, buying and selling, and doing well, they get jealous. But they shouldn't. They should look at those who come in and ripping off their country from outside, and those are the places they should try to fulfill, get the education, get the skills, take over those jobs. So black on black violence, we have to have, a moratorium on internecine warfare between Africans. What needs to happen is African leaders need to get together and assist solving the problems with our own solution. Find out what caused these age-old, wars between ourselves. Settle them and say, look, as a continent, we have to move forward. Otherwise, they will depopulate us. They've said it. From Kissinger go back, they've been saying depopulate Africa. Bill Gates and all that, depopulate Africa. That's their mantra. They want to depopulate Africa. Why? 1.5 billion people, 70% youths, and all these raw materials, and arable land, they want to move us out of the continent so they could take it over. And you see, all the strategies are being put in place. So Africa needs to wake up. African leaders or the youths need to wake up and, if necessary, displace the old heads.
Let me take you back. What was the reaction? I think it was on 2018, 2019, where citizens xenophobia or phobia, whatever, in South Africa. I heard about the Nigerians being crucified, being tortured in South Africa.
Yeah.
But what was the reaction by South Africans living in Nigeria by that time?
Well, maybe they were a bit scared that Nigeria would retaliate, but to show you the maturity, Nigeria never. Nigerians really never. There was a few attacks on South African institutions like...
Just institutions.
When I say institutions, like they have MTN, maybe one or two demonstrated. I think one of their supermarkets was attacked.
Owned by the South African?
By Nigerians. That was just a small bit of retaliation, but nothing to do with, death threats, etc., etc. I think they just attacked economic targets. They say, you've come here, you're making money, but you are killing our people, right? Nigeria still had and exercised a lot of maturity. What people got to realize is that Nigeria as a country helped South Africa during the apartheid era. Many of them studied and stayed in exile in Nigeria during apartheid. Yeah. So, what they were doing is wrong. What the South Africans were doing is wrong. Absolutely wrong. I call it Afrophobia.
I also call it Afrophobia.
Yes,
I get no reason to call it xenophobia.
Yeah, it's not something. It was Afrophobia. Africans fearing themselves. That's really what it is.
Yeah, and of course you have some songs about Afrophobia, right?
Yeah. Well, they as I said during Festa, as a poet and a songwriter, I talked about black versus black. I talked about anti-apartheid. Those were in the 70s, as a poet and artist at the time.
Why did you choose music as another platform for you to advocate this issue? Why? Why
well,
music?
during that time, a lot of us were part of the Pan-African movement and still are. And your medium, if you don't have a gun to fight, was through messages, either poetry or anti-apartheid music, which I did at the time. So I had songs like One Love, Black versus Black, Soweto, Zimbabwe Freedom Song, They're Talking. Those were the type of things I was talking to the issues at the time during the 70s. I don't know if you were born then, but during the 70s. Yeah,
of course, I was very young by the time.
But during the 70s, there was a movement of Pan-Africanists who were supporting, our brothers and sisters on the continent who were being killed, slaughtered by these whites in Zimbabwe and South Africa, who saw us as subhumans. And therefore, those of us who had the wherewithal to do something about it through music, through poetry, through any kind of support, we're doing it. So I was one of those. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Can you maybe while ending up our interview, can you have a little bit about one of the song that you did, just a little bit?
Okay.
Yeah.
Black versus black is a method of attacking us, yes. Black versus black is a method of suppressing us. These people will use you and them going to try you. Don't let them kill you for the price of a bullet. You know?
Yeah, for the price of
a bullet, the price of a bullet. Because that's what it is. We had a lot of people who were traitors. And what I was singing then is that don't allow even the traitors to be used, telling the traitors, don't allow these people to use you for the price of a bullet, because they'll still kill you. That's the point. Or they're talking. They're the ones execute us first, prosecute us for a cause. Now the time is right. We don't want to be last. We want freedom and we want it fast. Oh yes, they're talking. Those are the type of songs at the time.
Thank you so much, Brigadier General Dr. Ambassador Wallace Williams, for having us today.
Thank you.
When I leave, you're leaving to
tomorrow.
Tomorrow. So we wish you luck and all the best when you get back to Nigeria, and please, maybe one day we will visit Antigua and Barbuda.
You must visit the Caribbean. Definitely.
Thank you so much. I wish to shake hand, but
you can't shake hands. You
Give me
believe
5.
in the pandemic.
Thank you
You
so
don't
much.
believe in the pandemic, do you?
Now, on behalf of the whole team, Watetezi TV from here, Loveness Mhagazi, Hilda Ngetunga, my name is Leonard Mapuli. Thank you and meet you again next time. Bye.